ספק שטפוני, אך זה בי שלא יטבע. מילים משתיקות עשה, מילים מביאות תקווה. דבר אל ליבי ישוע, אתה בקרבי שלווה. דבר אל ליבי ישוע, אנוח בצל כנפך. מקלט לנפשי לך, אמחה דמעותיי בך. מילים מרפאות הצעה, מילים של חמלה ברחוב. דבר אל ליבי ישוע, בקרבתך שלום. דבר אל ליבי ישוע, דבר אלוהים אשמה. את מילתך שיש בי, עיצב אותי לדמותך. מילים של גבורה וקורה, מילים של עידוד ועוז. דבר אל ליבי ישוע, ברכה לי עוזר מעוז. דבר אל ליבי ישוע, בקול של דממה דקה. חקור נא ליבי עזרני, ללמוד לציית לך. באהבתך לשמוח, מול חסד להיכנע. דבר אל ליבי ישוע, למדני ברוח קולך. באהבתך לשמוח, מול חסד להיכנע. דבר אל ליבי ישוע, למדני ברוח קולך.
Sing a word a new song, and this praise from the end of the earth. You will go down to the sea. I know that it's a ring. The others were there waiting for the chance. Isaiah 42, 10 through 13.
There we go. Oh, it's so heavy. Look at that. Oh my gosh, look at all those bananas.
Thanks again for joining us, all of you.
Let's close in prayer.
And let's close in prayer.
Let them give glory to the Lord and declare His
Hey, welcome and shaloha, everybody. Good to see you guys.
Yep. Shalom, shalom.
Yeah, we missed you guys last week, but we had a much needed break and did some family things, and I can't remember what we did, but we had a much needed break. It was nice, but it's always good to be back here again with all of you.
Yeah.
We had a great reading just now in Digital Readers Club. We were talking about getting ready to present the Torah. and all the things that accumulated before they were actually given the law. And so there was some talk in the chat and about how wondering why there were 613 commandments and why we don't have all those today. We technically have them in the Bible, but from what I've learned anyway, those 613 were specifically for the children of Israel who are coming out of Egypt. And we have them summarized in 10 today, as modeled by Messiah. You have any thoughts on that? You did. Noble did a whole bunch of teachings on all
Oh,
that.
well, the commandments they cover different areas. Some are meant for farmers, and those that are raising cattle and sheep and whatnot. Some are for other areas of life. So it doesn't. Not all 613 applies to any one person, unless that one person did everything, which is highly unlikely. So that's pretty much what I know about the 613. It's again, it's been brought down to us. I've never counted it, one by one per se, to double check it. But maybe one day I will when I have nothing else to do in life, and just totally bored. So
It looks like a bunch of you are in the chat already. Thank you so much, moderators, for coming in. Tammy, Mong. Looks like we got Adrian. We were missing Adrian during DRC. Everyone was wondering where you were, Adrian. Leonard, and of course, Watchman, that's Dean, who will be presenting today. We're looking forward to hearing his presentation and hearing his testimony of healing. But first, we always start by going over prayer requests. So if you guys do have prayer requests, please put them in the chat and put it in all caps so that we can see it. And then I'll be looking for them. And why does it sound like there's feedback?
yeah, I hear Mom talking, Isaac, on the mic.
Okay.
For a reason.
All right. I think that's done now. But yeah, so if you guys do have prayer requests, go ahead and put them in the chat in capital letters, and we can add them to our list. For all of you prayer warriors out there, we do have some prayer requests to go over first. And so I'm hearing some feedback again. I'm not sure why that is, Isaac.
Is it? Give me that.
Oh, it's the YouTube
Is it
delay,
this?
I think.
No, it's because of Watchman. He
Okay.
probably has his mic up loud enough where it is picking up your voice and
Oh.
his at the same time.
Ah,
So-
I see.
All right, Dean, you're gonna have
because
to lower
if
your
it's in
volume.
that audio, it's only from his side. So-
Okay. Maybe Dean, if you can lower your volume just a bit, then yeah, there we go. I don't hear the feedback now. Not as much. Okay, so let's go over it. We can start by going over some prayer requests, but first, should we open up in prayer, hun?
Yes, I don't.
Okay. Dear
Okay.
Abba, thank you so much for this day. Thank you for this beautiful fellowship that we have here with Hebrew Hawaiian. And we ask that you bring those here today who need to hear this message. And we just ask that you cover all the technology so that we're able to minister effectively and to just bless all those who are part of our fellowship. Bring new people in, Father, who are desiring fellowship and to learn and to grow deeper and to learn more about you, Father. We just ask that you cover all these prayer requests we're about to present, and that you just be with Dean, with Watchman of Christ, as he's going to share his testimony, and just bind any spirits that are going to be prohibiting him from speaking the truth. And we ask all this in Yeshua's name. Amen.
Amen.
Are you still hearing it?
Yeah, I'm still hearing it.
A little bit on and off, yeah.
Okay, hold on.
Okay, so we have prayer requests up here.
No, you said there was none.
Oh,
Nothing changed.
okay.
You want it up?
Maybe if we could just go over the ones that are on there to remind everybody, that would be good.
Okay.
Wanted to give our condolences. I don't know if Sherry's in here yet. Wanted to give our condolences to the Papin family.
Yeah.
Sherry's mother-in-law passed away this past week. I think most of you who are part of Zen's channel also are aware of that. And so we want to make sure we keep all their family in prayer. She went peacefully as far as I've heard. And I'm not sure if they've had the memorial service yet or not. Maybe Sherry, you could keep us up to speed on that. But let's go over these prayer requests here. We got
Our condolences.
Isaac, you want to switch it over to
I'm
the
working
screen?
on it.
Okay. So the first prayer request we have from Valerie, and these are ongoing prayer requests. So we appreciate you keeping everyone in prayer here, and you can do screenshots if you want to pray for people throughout the week. I know some of you guys do that already. So Valerie, she's asking for continued prayer, protection, and healing. Also for our friends Tim and Anna Schwab. They were supposed to come on today, but we are pushing them to the first week of June instead because we wanted to hear Dean's testimony as soon as possible. And so any spiritual attacks that have been confronting them, they've asked us to cover them in prayer. Also for Will B, his family issues, that's an ongoing prayer request. And Donna Smith, I didn't see her at Digital Readers Club, but Donna, just know that we're praying for you, for your parents, your future. Everything is kind of up in the air, and I know that's really difficult. It's really difficult to deal with when not knowing what's going to happen, but we know that we serve the Most High who knows what our future is, and so we can depend on him for everything. Let's go to the next one here. For John, he had asked prayer. He has the big C, and I'm hoping he's watching now, or he'll watch the show after we're done. He's said that it's now in his liver, and we do have some solutions and some really amazing things that Dean will be presenting. So if any of you know people, which I was just saying, I think all of us know at least one person who's dealt with this big C. It's becoming so common, it's just ridiculous. Also for Christy Frost, we spoke with her the other day, and she asked for continued prayers for her health and her finances and her dogs. So Christy, if you're listening, we're continuing to cover you with prayer, sister. For Christine, who had asked for prayer for her husband Ron's healing, and she's caregiver for him. For Clark, ongoing prayers for his mother, who also is dealing with the big C, and for her salvation. And for Sherry, we needed to update that and just say condolences for Sherry's family. Her mother-in-law did pass away this past week, for those of you who were not aware of that. For our granddaughter, for Ayla, for her continued safety and her parents' safety. For Lisa, also known as Ya and Husha, for her finances and her health. And then this is Dean again. We've always continued to pray for him for the past several months for his medical issues. It seems like he's doing much better now, which is why he's able to present. So congratulations on that, Dean. For Shay's sister, she's also dealing with the big C, and the treatments the doctors are prescribing, they have a lot of side effects. So just want to keep your whole family in prayer, Shay. It's such a difficult time when a loved one is dealing with so much. And also for Shay, he asked prayer for his landlord's wife, for Starla. So we'll continue to keep her in prayer. So anything could happen. Anything is possible with him. For Wes, he asked for prayer for his salvation of his family members also. And for Kay and Grace, I put an emergency prayer request for them in Discord just because of the developments that have happened with this young lady who is on the run, and apparently there's a lot of other activity going on behind the scenes there. And so just pray for the safety of this child, and also for her adoptive mother, who's also her cousin, for her peace. And also for our friend Ange and her family, for their safety, ongoing prayer requests for that.
And that's it.
And then we have Hallelujah Hallelujah praise reports. Ayla, she's remaining healthy, our grandbaby.
What do you mean? She's complaining a lot. She's not getting enough food. She wants to eat more and more. Right,
yeah,
Isaac?
she's a healthy eater, that's for sure. And then for my healing, it is progressing. Thank you so much, everyone, for praying for me. Everything's getting so much better. For Zen, his voice was a little bit weak today, so we still need to lift him up in prayer, but he is healing as well. And Tammy George. Tammy George is in the chat. Good to see you, sister. We're continuing to pray for your healing too. So if you guys have any other prayer requests, did you see any come into the chat? I have not seen any come on in.
Can go back to us, Isaac.
Oh, and also Penny said she just lost her neighbor, so she's aware of what that feels like, that loss of just not being able to see a person anymore who's gone on out of this life. And thank you guys for all sharing your condolences to the Papin family. Did you have anything else you wanted to share, hon?
No, not at the moment.
Isaac, did you have anything you wanted to share? Okay. Well, let's start. We are going to introduce our guest today. I'll introduce him again. I mentioned him at the beginning. His name is Dean. He's known in the chat and on Zen's channel as Watchman of Christ. Most of you have interacted with him and heard him speak here before. He is such an encouragement. He's a street preacher. he's overcome this amazing testimony he's going to be telling us. He's overcome the big C and all of the things that he did and was instructed to do by helpful people, and especially by the Most High God, to assist in his healing. So he sent us a bunch of visuals. We're going to be putting those up here on the screen as we're talking. And if you guys have any questions for him, I will be monitoring the chat and I'll be relaying questions to him. And we need to make sure that we are aware of the heavy censorship on this topic in particular. So please call it the big C. We all know what we're talking about here. It's such a very common diagnosis nowadays, and it's a very money-making diagnosis as well, is from what we've discovered. And so without further ado, let's introduce Dean, Watchman of Christ. Can you guys, Dean, can you say hi so we can hear you, brother?
Hopefully you can hear me. Am I turned up enough?
I can hear you on my mic.
Yes, we can
on my-
hear you.
Yep.
Isaac said yes.
Isaac says yes.
In the chat, can you guys hear Dean? Go ahead and speak some more, Dean.
Okay, first of all, I'd like to say all praise to the Most High. And I'm still processing everything, and I just can't stop giving praise for everything that's going on with me and everything that I'm still processing it all.
Yes, it's a lot. I mean, you went through so much during this past year. And I feel like we just saw you. I mean, that was like 2 years ago at the conference, but you were already starting to go through things immediately after that, right?
Yes, and I'd been sick for a while, and I didn't know what was wrong. No one could tell me what was wrong, but I was having a lot of problems, and they just told me it was leaky gut or long haul COVID or things like that. But I was experiencing a lot of problems.
Yeah. And like, what kind of symptoms were you having? Because I think a lot of people can relate to this. There's some people that are in our chat right now that have overcome huge hurdles too with their health. And so if you want to list any of the symptoms, that might be helpful before we get into what you did to eradicate these symptoms, if that makes any sense.
I had the entire gamut of long haul symptoms. I ended up with Bell's palsy, a mild stroke, heart palpitations, shortness of breath, insomnia that lasted almost 2 years.
Wow. Got that, Dean. We thought we lost you there for a second.
No.
Okay, continue. Everyone can
no
hear you.
problem. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, they said
Okay.
there's some buffering going
And
on.
so I'd lost 30 pounds. I couldn't eat. I had a couple incidences were real serious. And then I had a breakthrough in the middle of a crisis of health. And I was on my knees because I couldn't get off the floor for about a full day. And I just started praying. And I just got up. And I was allowed to get up is what it was. And I was extremely weak. And then I was able to very slowly start eating food again. And I actually started working out. From February and March, I got a gym membership, and I went from being able to do only 1 or 2 push-ups to being able to do 50 again. And then through that, I knew something was wrong, even though all of my other symptoms went away. My heart palpitation, shortness of breath, insomnia, they were just all gone. They just went away. But then I ended up having a colonoscopy in late March, or actually in April. And they scheduled me for surgery right away.
Wow.
Because they found an orange-sized tumor, and it needed to be removed because it was complete blockage of my colon. So they removed that and a foot of my colon. And then 4 days later, I had some extreme complications in recovery. They rushed me into CT scan and then rushed me right back into surgery and opened me back up and did some surgery on my small intestine and stomach and who knows what else. I told my doctor that there was nothing wrong with me. He just probably forgot his forceps or being left him behind.
Yep.
But recovering from that, that's when I knew I would be okay, because instantly I felt better afterwards. Even though I spent a month in recovery, I knew I was going to be better because I was instantly filled with peace and joy. And I shared that about joy last time I was on your program about the healing effects of joy, and I stuck with that, and I still did chemo. Oh, excuse me. I probably shouldn't say. We should say that's the little c word.
Oh yeah, that's
But
a
I
good one.
probably shouldn't have. But I did things that I shouldn't have done. Like I did a biopsy because they had found 22 enlarged lymph nodes on a CT and PET scan, and it had spread throughout everything. But I had a tumor very close to my heart that was becoming enlarged, and they wanted to make sure that if I was going to have surgery, they wanted to see if it was malignant or benign. And as it turned out, it was malignant. And so that's why I went on a special chemo. It's not the one where you get your hair falling out and you lose all your weight. But there's a lot of different treatments in one of those centers where they give you a lot of different kinds of medicines. What they were specifically treating me for was to reduce the size of the tumor so that they might be able to operate. So
Wow.
I wasn't on a standard protocol like everyone else. But then that failed. I got very sick. I was bleeding out of my nose for 3 weeks straight and coughing up blood, and it was really bad. And I felt like I was dying, and my face swelled up really bad. Had to put ice on my face for 30 minutes a day, and all the oncologists could tell me is, well, we'll reduce your treatment. If you don't feel good, just go to emergency hospital. And so I didn't go to the emergency hospital. And next time I talked to them when I missed my next treatment, they got very angry with me. And my doctor was telling me some stuff like, well, if you don't listen to me, you could die.
Oh,
And I told her, you're not God. And I got mad and I walked out and I never went back. Well, I did go back, but that was like 2 weeks ago. I went back in just to ring the bell, which is when you're done with your treatment or you're in remission.
It had to be
But
frightening, though. I mean, your face swelling up.
oh, it was.
I mean, bleeding
Well-
through your nose. I mean, gosh, that had to really scare.
Well, I was actually perishing. I knew it. I've been on death's doorstep so many times. The welcome mat there has an imprint of my body in
Oh.
a fetal position. I know what that place is like.
oh wow.
And so I knew I was passing. That was unmistakable to me. And I knew I had to do something. So I was prompted by the Spirit to pray and fast. And I started after December. And in January, I was full on into a fast. But this is what I want to talk about when we talk about what it is that I did,
Okay.
because it's not for everyone, but it is for everyone. Like I was telling you before, Noble, everybody wants to know what I took.
Right.
But let me just tell you, I did prayer and fasting for 40 days, and I knew I was better. I went back and got a new oncologist just so I could test myself. And they put me through Garden test, another colonoscopy, or Guardian test, which is the full spectrum blood analysis they do at every treatment center every week, every time you, well, not every week, every time you go in, but it's the full one where they tell if you have any new C-word cells anywhere or old ones. And it's a very distinctive test. And there's like 16 panels that they check you on.
Right.
But then when I went back in, they told me, this is remarkable because we're not finding anything here anywhere in any of the tests. They're all negative. And all of the 22 lymph nodes that were enlarged throughout all your body,
Mm-hmm.
they're gone.
Wow.
Now,
So I was ready for bad news. Well, I was ready for anything, but I was hoping for good news. And so the oncologist said, you don't need my services anymore. If you want to come back for a test in the future, just get in touch with my PA. I said, okay. I went and rang the bell.
Dean, you mentioned
So that's where I am now.
Dean, are you there?
Go ahead.
Okay, yeah.
Yes,
So-
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm just wondering if you could hear me. Like you
Yeah.
said, this is not meant for everybody, but then again, it is meant for everybody. What did you mean by
Exactly.
that? Wh-
And I'm glad you asked, because I have been having a lot of people ask me, what did you take? And I said, I took prayer and fasting by faith. And my friend Kelly told me today that was something that really made it all make sense. is that you did everything by full commitment in every aspect, in every realm that you needed to do. You were fully given over to it. I said, that's exactly what happened. So you can take medicines, you can take protocols, you can do whatever. But what was most important to me was to be fully committed to my faith that I could and would be healed, and it would be his will, and I would. So I completely changed my lifestyle. I changed how I think, how I eat, how I breathe, how I walk. I changed everything. And what I committed to right away was a fast, but it's really important to know that if you were ever on the little C word and you went that route, water fasting is so deadly and dangerous, it can kill you. That's how serious it is. So I'm not going to tell you to fast. I don't know where you are or what you're doing, but if you're a Christian, you should be fasting anyway, because prayer and fasting go hand in hand. I read a report, and it's like the third time I heard it today, even, where a doctor was talking about if you fast and do a water fast for 7 days, you have reduced your risk for cancer by 70%. And I've heard that before, different, and this is from the University of Boston. But anyhow, I did not water fast right away, because I had problems with my stomach from having these surgeries,
Right.
and I had to be careful. Plus, I had liver problems. So our brother has liver problems. He should tune into this. What I did is for the first 30 days of my fast, I detoxed my liver with matcha green. Now, this isn't for everyone, and this isn't a protocol that I'm recommending or suggesting, but it would be healthy for everyone to drink green tea.
Right.
So the first thing I did every morning was to get some Baja Gold sea salt, do a pinch of it in warm water and lime. And I can name 3 doctors off the top of my head that do that every morning,
Yeah.
and that prescribe that is one of the best things you could do, because even if you were going to fast, you should still be taking lime water and salt as an electrolyte to boost your stomach or boost your liver so that it can detox. Because when you fast, after 48 to 72 hours, you go into autophagy, and your body starts eating all its fat cells and toxins.
Right.
And it starts with autophagy cleaning itself out. Well, if your liver that does your detox and expels this from your body is not ready to do the extra work, it is just going to get stuck in your system and won't go anywhere, and you're going to end up worse than you were. So I made sure that I detoxed all the little C word out of my system as much as I could.
Good.
So I did turmeric, curcumin, ginger inside my green tea, matcha green tea, which is 50 times better than regular green tea. And it's good for your stomach because it has very good things in it that help your stomach biome.
Dean,
Fibers, etc. Yes.
let me break in. When you mentioned the word autophagy, what does that mean? Because some people in our audience may not understand what that word
Yes,
means.
it's a state and condition of the body where your body actually starts breaking itself down. So your body's saying, okay, we have an emergency here. You stop feeding me. And well, what do? Your body instantly starts looking for nutrients. And you know, because when you take in food, it turns into glucose. And the glucose is what your body uses in your bloodstream to feed itself, basically, in layman's terms. And you can nitpick how I said that, but when autophagy happens, there's less glucose. There's
Yep.
your insulin levels say, you know what, this is an emergency here. What do? So it starts scavenging the body for resources.
Right.
And
Right.
it will start eating its own fats, but at the same time, it starts eating its own toxins too. It'll get at whatever it can get.
Right.
But here's a very interesting thing that happens with autophagy is it's the beginning of your body healing itself. And even by doing a 3-day fast, when autophagy is at its peak after 72 hours, your body actually starts healing itself. But here's the most important and key element to all this that very few people know. After 72 hours, your body starts producing its own stem cells. And that's what really heals you, because that does the DNA repair to any damage to anything in your system. And it really starts going out and looking for anything and everything to fix. And it goes into complete repair mode. That's why people say, well, I do intermittent fasting. I said, well, that's good for you. But why would you start your healing machine in your body and then shut it off every 24 hours? So there's ways to do this. And so I went on a keto diet. I wanted to get myself into a state where I could stay in autophagy. And so I think that was key to me, because as my friend Nora Heff says, you put your body in a state and condition to where it could heal itself, and then you fed it all the vitamins and nutritions and nourishment and aminos and peptides and everything that it needed to heal itself and to repair itself. And then that's what it is that I did. And I found through trial and error that you can fast and stay in autophagy and still eat. There's ways to do it. There's things that you can eat and can't eat, because you don't want to spike your glucose by eating a full meal, because then if you want to go into autophagy, you got to fast for 2 or 3 days again just to start all over again. But you can eat certain foods there's lots of them. I don't want to get into that right now, but I'll mention some off the top of my head, like avocados and coconut, and those things don't spike glucose, so it doesn't stop the autophagy. Then I learned to drink a lot of teas and then a lot of things that contained a lot of protein, like moringa tea leaf or
Yes.
moringa tea,
Yes.
Yep.
which
That's good
is
stuff.
really high in protein. It's higher in protein than a steak. 5
yeah.
times more potassium than a banana, 5 times more vitamin C than an orange. You can actually live on moringa. It's one of the very few superfoods that you can live on, like avocado or coconut. But it is known to cure 55 diseases.
Yes. Let me make a quick note
Go
here.
ahead.
When our daughter-in-law was pregnant, the naturopath nurse that was helping her said, take moringa capsules, take as much moringa, because that helps
Yes.
in producing breast milk for when baby arrives. And it's such an amazing plant. I never realized how this tree is just such a, and we have these trees here at our house.
Well,
so
you
it's
know,
just so amazing.
Nice.
Moringa is the English name. What's the Filipino name?
Yeah, it's calamungay.
Calamungay for you Filipinos out there.
Tagalog, yeah.
Malamunggay.
Yeah.
Manculas knows what they're talking about.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
So it's interesting. You guys sent me soursop leaves, and I was drinking soursop leaf tea
Awesome.
along with moringa leaf tea, dandelion root tea, matcha tea. And so
right.
I lived on teas for 40 days,
Awesome.
and I got healthy and I got stronger, and I built an incredible amount of upper body strength and muscle.
Wow. Wow.
I got up to doing 200 push-ups a day, 100 pull-ups, or 100 dips, and 50 pull-ups, and then walking 3 miles a day when I couldn't walk to the mailbox before. I live in a bunch of hills, and I was walking hard up the hills and not getting winded anymore. So my vitality really changed, and that's when I knew that I was really getting better, but I just knew it. And so that was really helpful to be able to do that and go through all that and do the fasting. And I'm one of these people that actually look at fasting a little bit different from a spiritual point of view, because I remembered the verse that when the disciples came back and they told the Messiah, some of these demons were not subject to us. And he
Right.
says, well, some of these won't come out without a lot of prayer and fasting.
Fasting, yes.
So I find that very interesting, because I've always looked at parasites, which most people now contribute, even the American Medical Association and a lot of peer-reviewed journals do admit that different things like ivermectin and fenbendazole actually kill parasites. That as of October 26th last year was the first time any peer-reviewed paper in American Journal finally came out and admitted it killed 23 different forms of C word. So those things work, but there's a lot of things that work for getting rid of the C word. First of all, the C word is not a disease. It's actually a condition in the body where the body is protecting and preserving itself by creating a tumor and housing and locking up the parasites or toxins or whatever is ailing you.
Right.
But there's no reason for anyone to ever pass away from this because it's so easily preventable and so easily curable. And I can name 100 things that kill the C word off the top of my head. I don't want to talk about that right now, but what I do want to talk about is the misinformation that is going around that is very deadly, that people are doing. And there's a whole new world of these cures going on that just are instant fads. And everybody is glomming onto these things like, oh, this protocol will cure me, this one will heal me. And everybody and their brother has a protocol now.
Right. I've seen that too.
Yes. And wait till you see how bad it gets with, for every clinic that I was going to that shuts down, 2 more immunotherapy clinics open up. Now, I was offered immunotherapy at one time. And just so you know, there's a thing called dostarlimab. It's actually dostarlimab. It goes by the Jemperli. To get their FDA approval, they tested 24 people with colorectal cancer, stage 4. That's what I had. And all 24 were healed with less than 6 months. That's a 100% efficacy rate. Now you're going to see these. Now there's clinics that actually guarantee they can beat breast cancer with this different types and forms of, if it hears a MAP or a MAB, it's an immunotherapy and they're going to be everywhere. But here's the problem with that. It's made from mice DNA and aborted fetal cells. So there is a moral quandary there now by, okay, how bad do you want to save yourself? What do you prescribe to? I don't prescribe to that and I never will. But that is going to be the next biggest thing out there.
You mentioned that that we don't have C, but whatever disease starts it, it's kind of contained in our body. Remember earlier you said that, and
can you repeat that, please?
You said that when we're afflicted, that we have it contained in our body. We don't carry it with us. It's a process where something is going bad. Cells are not, how can I say, healthy.
Well,
right.
Once cells lose their oxygen and they can replicate and they duplicate and they do it on a fast rate. And then, if it's a tumor and it's concealing, parasites even, those cells are splitting, but they've lost their ability to oxygenate. And so I'm glad you brought that up because there's another very popular treatment out there right now that everybody is talking about. And I want to warn people about this because with your ivermectins and fenbendasols, and there's a whole bunch of Facebook groups that I've been kicked off of lately because of what I'm going to tell you, is it kills parasites. It really does. And it works. But you're taking a pharmaceutical grade chemical that everybody and their brother now sells, and the majority of ivermectin and fenbendazole and menbendazoles out there are, how would you say, counterfeit. But they're all chemically produced and they're all very difficult to take on your stomach. It's like chemo. It's incredibly difficult on your stomach. So is ivermectin and fenbendazole. Well, so you're going to get rid of the parasites, but you're going to kill your stomach biome. All of your gut biome, all of your health is in your gut, period.
Right.
So you got to keep your gut biome healthy, and that boosts your immune system. So why are you going to destroy your gut biome and destroy your immunity to kill something else? You don't need to. So what it is I did, and I'm doing and will continue to do, is I was taking wormwood. Guess what? What do you think they make ivermectin from? Wormwood.
Wow.
Yep.
But
So
wormwood is good for your stomach if you take it as an essential oil.
Yes.
And black walnut. Black walnut works just as good as anything else because parasites are very fastidious. They're very hard to kill because they have armor.
Yep.
And you need to break through that armor shell of the parasite. It's a biofilm.
Yep.
Black
Yeah.
walnut breaks down the biofilm and it leaves them or renders them so they're defenseless. Now they can be taken out. So then I found, and you're posting a whole bunch of stuff that I've been looking at, and I found the hard way and doing it on my own. Pepita seeds, pumpkin seeds, neem oil. There's so many different para-cleanses out there that you can take that are really good for you and are from natural and essential oils and other resources that are actually good for your stomach. So it's better to take those. And so for saying that, I got in a lot of trouble with these groups that censored me and kicked me off and booted me out because I'm not prescribing their protocols. And then everybody else is asking me, what did you take? I said, I took prayer and fasting. It was all the nutrients and vitamins and minerals. I learned to eat healthy. I love Dr. Sebi. I know, like he said, he was arrested for saying that he can cure people. And they locked him up and put him in jail. And he took his court case to the Supreme Court and brought in 30 people that the doctors had given up on that had hepatitis and diabetes and AIDS and different C words. And they were all cured. And every doctor that looked at them said, there's no trace of any of these things in these people again. But these were people that all the doctors had given up on. There's in his protocols and in his books, so you don't have to listen to me. You can see that if you have these different things wrong with you, there are certain fruits and vegetables that are better for certain different things and certain things that you shouldn't take if you have certain things. So there's no one blanket thing. I could tell you I took Essiac tea, which really helped me, and it has burdock root in it. But I have to be careful to tell people that because if you're pregnant or planning on getting pregnant, you should not take burdock root. But it is the natives indigenous to the land have taken it for centuries, and it's good for a lot of things. And it's known since 1920 to take care of the C word, but there's lots of things that do that. Dr. Mathari said, drink lemon and lime water every day for 6 months. You'll get rid of it. Or just do coconut oil, which brings me to coconut oil, which I swear by.
Isn't that the greatest? I want to interject something real quick, Dean,
Go ahead.
while we're talking about different holistic leaders. You know, like you mentioned, Dr. Sebi. There's a whole bunch of them out there, and sometimes it can get kind of confusing for
And
people.
you guys have a lot of really good information on your website as well, on your site.
Well, thank you. That's like for personal experience, most of it, because I've struggled a lot with a very weak immune system.
Which is
most
the
of my
best
life, too.
experience.
Yes. I always, before I recommend anything to anybody, I always make sure I try it myself, because I don't want to recommend things just because I heard so-and-so did it, or I always want to make sure I try it myself. So one of the things I've noticed is kind of a recent trend with all of these different holistic approaches coming up is they have holistic clinics for people that have kind of given up on the regular medical system and all of the other, the regular protocols that their insurance will cover. But these clinics, it's kind of like a double-edged sword is what I could say. I've actually looked into a couple of them. There's one in Arizona in particular that I looked into, and they claim that, and their holistic methods are amazing. It's a lot of the things that you just mentioned, plus they have like other things like ozone therapy and other more expensive type of IV treatments. They have like the whole gamut. The thing is that they are in, if you look at the facility, it looks like this extremely wealthy, like a palace, basically, that you're gonna stay in. And they require 8 to 12 weeks of staying there. And I'm not gonna knock the treatments or anything. It's just that they've turned this holistic turn in people's minds as to not trusting what's going on because of all the failed things of the American medical system. They've turned it into a huge money-making thing. Because I checked in to just see how much would it cost, to check yourself in there for 8 to 12 weeks of their holistic treatments instead of doing the little C and all the other things covered by your insurance? Because these people don't take insurance, right? And so, do you want to
Right.
take a guess as to what that would cost someone 8 to 12 weeks staying at this place in Arizona, in Scottsdale,
$25
Arizona?
to $30,000 minimum.
No, you probably want to at least quadruple that.
Okay, I was
Isn't
I
that
was just
crazy?
talking getting in the front door.
Yes,
That's
yes.
the down payment just to come in the front door.
Yeah,
that's just
just to-
that's just for the parking lot.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know.
There you go.
So just
The parking pass.
just for everyone listening, just be really careful because their advertising is amazing. They've got commercials on all the time. Even my dad was telling me about this place, and it's just like they make it look so wonderful, and all you have to do is just sign up, and you'll walk out of here a new person, and all the treatments look really great and everything. But there's so much you can do on your own if you just have the right tools, and you just have people like you giving their testimonies of things that work and things that they can try. And so I think that that's even more because it's more personal this way. We actually know you. We know everybody who's here in our chat. It seems like you can trust people more. You know them, that they've actually gone through it, and that's why your testimony is so powerful. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just wanted to throw that out there. Just
No, I'm glad you
anyone's
said that because
anyone's
that
looking into those
that brings
holistic
that.
places. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
hmm Oh, no, and with everything else too, because you can't go on Facebook or any of these social media apps anywhere anymore, and you're going to run into advertisements on how to beat the C word and different protocols and different things. It's become this huge thing because there's billions that the pharmaceutical industry has been banking off this. So now everyone and their brother is trying to cash in.
Yep.
That's why last year you couldn't find ivermectin. But
Right.
now I guarantee you I can find 100 places to buy it.
Right. Exactly.
And it's everywhere. But have you ever wondered, why all of a sudden these things are being allowed? So let's look at methylene blue. I don't know if you guys know what methylene blue is, but it's the oldest medicine in America.
Yes, I've heard
It's
it.
been around for 200 years. It's an industrial blue dye, but it was the very first synthetic medicine ever used. And it does have its medicinal uses and treatment. But then they found it beats and it takes care of the C word, and it's also really good for Alzheimer's and dementia. And it can work as little as 2 weeks. In fact, Joe Rogan's talking about it, Mel Gibson, all these other people all over the internet are all of a sudden way into this methylene blue. You put it on your tongue turns blue. Well, guess what? Your brain turns blue, your organs turn blue, and you can't detox it out of your system. But it really works because it works on the mitochondrial level, which allows oxygen on the cell level to hyperact, and it makes all your cells absorb oxygen from blood much easier. And that's how they found that it defeats the tumors and the cancers, or the C word cells, because it makes them hyperreact with the oxygen, and the dead cells can actually come back to life and rejuvenate. So it does work, and it works in the brain because 90% of it actually goes through the blood-brain barrier. And they found that people who take it for a couple weeks, you can go out and do an IQ test and score 15% higher, and it makes your brain work wonderfully, and it restores your memory and does all these wonderful things, but it still turns your brain blue. And they found people after autopsies that all their organs were blue. And there's a lot of very serious things that they're finding now all of a sudden that it does. And one of the reports, and this is the most widely spread, the next fad, trust me, with methylene blue, and everybody and their brother is selling it in the non-dye form, and the capsule, the pill, the this and the that. And most of them are counterfeit. And don't ever take anything that you don't see as third-party tested anyway.
Right.
Just proviso. And don't take anything without thoroughly researching it, because what I can take is not what, my friend who has a pacemaker can take.
Right.
So you can't just put it out there. I want you to research everything. Someone else told me one day, why should we listen to you? I said, you shouldn't, but you should seriously consider if the things I'm telling you are true and research them yourself. One of the things that I would really like to stress, though, it wasn't just the prayer and the fasting, but one thing that I learned recovering from surgery and then learning how to eat again, because I couldn't eat for a long time after I got out of the hospital with all the stomach, intestine, and colon surgeries. I had to learn how to eat again. And then even after I was told and I was back onto a normal diet, I never went back to a normal diet by eating meals. I don't ever need to eat another meal as long as I live because I've learned how to eat fruits and vegetables like meals. But
Yes.
I've also learned how to make soups out of dandelion leaves and spinach and be happy with it with fresh onions and sweet potatoes and fresh cloves of garlic. And so at one point for a whole 30 days of my fasting, I ate 31 different things that were known to anti-C word. And that's all I was eating. I wouldn't eat anything, and I'm still not eating any. Well, last couple days, I admit, I kind of cheated a little. But for the most part, since the start of the year, for the first 90 days to 100 days of the year, if it didn't cure or it didn't heal or it didn't inhibit the C word, I did not put it in my system.
Wow.
But here's how I did it.
That is discipline.
Go ahead.
No, that's a lot of discipline. I was just going to
And
say.
that was
not
the
only that, but
commitment. That was the commitment.
Let me interject this also for those
Go ahead.
those people that are tuning into our program at this very moment. We are not health professionals.
Right.
Just
Thank you.
The disclaimer is that this is just one man's testimony of how he was healed. He was at death's doorstep, and he did radical changes in order to hopefully come away with life. And notice that he said prayer and fasting. Okay.
That's right.
Now, there's going to be that
I'll pray
that
for the Lord.
debate or argument that says, well, was it more prayer or was it more fasting? I think it's a combination of the two. But remember, who is our healer? Raphael, God, the God who heals, right? And
Indeed.
yeah, and when you start committing yourself to Him, and then you start to follow the so-called protocols that He has made for us in plants and roots and all the substances that are grown on earth, they were made for purposes like this. So
Healing of the nations.
exactly. So keep in mind that again, this is just a testimony, and like Dean said earlier, people wanted to get the formula. What did you do to get healed? Hey, guess what? It's that relationship with Yeshua that is first and foremost.
Right.
No, nothing can beat that. The spiritual salvation is primary. Physical salvation is secondary. And here Dean has both because he loves the Lord, he's saved, and now he's being saved physically so that he can share his story and his testimony about all these protocols that he's going through, everything from cleansing and remember, he said also earlier, you need to cleanse your liver, your kidneys first, your gut biomes. You have to clean it out first before you can start any fasting, because why put good gas into a gas tank that's corroded with rust and has water and all of that junk in there? It's not going to make any difference. You have to clean out the gas tank first before you start putting in the good gas. Right, Dean?
Yeah, you got to clean out your filters, and your liver is your filter.
Yes.
And here's some of the facts that a lot of people don't know. 90% of people in the United States or in Western countries, they have fatty livers, and fatty livers do not detox the blood properly. So in your blood, you might have molds and fungi, and different parasites running around for years, and no way for your liver to clean it because you've never cleaned your liver. And the best way to detox your liver is lime water in the morning. I do it with a little salt and matcha green tea. They say apple cider vinegar is really good. That can be harsh on your stomach. I do that, but I make a salad dressing with extra virgin olive oil and apple cider vinegar. And that's how I get that in my system. Both of those things are good for you. But you can clean out the liver first. And if you have, now see, one thing that happened when I was undergoing my treatment, I ballooned up to 225. I went from after surgery being 168 to 225. Some
Wow.
lose weight, some gain weight. So I kind of bloated up. Well, once I started in January on these fasts, I have no fat on my body. I went from 225, I'm back down to 191, a very healthy and comfortable weight. I feel really good at this weight, but I got rid of all the fat because once you start detoxing and once autophagy starts happening, it starts getting rid of all the fat, the visceral fat and outer fat. And so I wanted to make sure I got rid of it all because that's where your toxins hide, is in the fat.
Right.
So I said, if I'm going to get better, I'm going to get rid of all of it. So I'm back down to lean and mean. And I'm going to stay that way because I don't eat sugars. First thing you have to do if you want to get better, start doing an alkaline diet, spring water, and whatever aids and helps you. So it's a known fact. You can take baking soda in your water, and it's one of the best ways to instantly alkalize your stomach
Exactly.
or your system.
I do that
You can
every
do
day.
3% food grade. Hydrogen peroxide is another one. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm telling you to look it up and research it.
Yes.
I heard a doctor saying the other day, one of the top C-word researchers in the world, talking to another doctor and said, you know, if I found out someone that I love was going to die in 7 days of cancer, first thing I would do was stick a nicotine patch on their arm, and I would start them on hydrogen peroxide, food grade 3%. Well, that's an outstanding thing to say. Well, it works. There's a lot of things that work, but that's interesting for that doctor to say that. So, and I want you guys to know, I want to put this out there. You keep showing all these slides, and I hope you guys are taking screenshots on all of the nutritional ones for the fruits and vegetables and parasite cleanses. I've taken every one of those. There's a few that I haven't, one or two only. But for the most part, my diet is everything that you're seeing on these slides.
Wow.
And another thing that I wanted to mention, which is the most important thing, I think, for what it is I did, and it can be very helpful to anyone, and I've never heard anybody talk about this before. So I started doing things I've never heard anybody talk about. So one of the things that I was doing is I do this thing called Bolthouse Green Goodness drink. And you can buy it at any health food section in most supermarkets. And it has 6 fruits, 6 vegetables. But the 6 vegetables are spirulina, chlorella, cilantro, wheatgrass, kelp. But all of 6 of those are known C-word fighters, but they're also detoxers, serious detoxers. So they're detoxers and C-word killers. So I was drinking 3 ounces every 3 hours. And then I realized I could do this like a slow drip medicine all day long. So in between every hour, I would drink an ounce of sour stop leaf tea, which tastes like dirt water, thank you. But I
Really?
love the taste of it now.
Yeah.
I love
it.
the
It kind
taste
of
of it.
grows on you.
I can
the
drink dirt water
aftertaste.
if it's going to cure me. I will drink dirt water.
The aftertaste
and like
is pretty
it.
good. No, isn't the aftertaste kind of interesting? It's kind of a little bit sweet. and
Well,
you
it's
don't know why.
interesting because your body knows it's good for you and it wants more.
Yeah, that's what it is. Because I get a little addicted to that too. I make that at
I,
least
I,
once or
I get
twice a week.
addicted. I crave it now. And so even the moringa tastes like dirt. I love it.
Yeah.
Give me more dirt water. So, like I said, it's been really fun learning how to just get all of this into my system during 12 or 14 hours in a day. Every hour, do another ounce or 2. So if you're going to do matcha green tea, why not do it 6 times a day instead of just all at once? It's like taking a handful of vitamins. And I want to talk about some of the stuff that I've taken that I know works. But if you took all of your vitamins all at once in the morning, that's not good for you because it's not good for your stomach. And most of your stomach acid is just going to wash it out of your system, probably only 6 to 8 to 11% of any vitamin you take is going to get methylated into your system anyway.
Right.
But what if you ground it all up and you sprinkled it in your teas and you drank your teas and your drinks all day long? So you're constantly taking it into your system all day long, like a slow drip IV. So for 100 days, I did a slow drip IV all day long of every mineral, nutrient, vitamin, amino, peptide that I was taking. And I did it all day long. For every hour I was taking something else or drinking something else and getting all of this into me. And throughout the course of the day, you know, I'm not eating any food, except when I eat, drink some soup or eat some fruit, which, I have to have my blueberries every night now.
Frozen
so there's
blueberries, right?
frozen blueberries because it works 10 times better than regular blueberries.
And fresh blueberries.
And so what it is, I learned a way to live, which is so people said, okay, well, now that you're in remission, full remission, because my oncologist told me, she says, what's more remarkable to me than anything else is not just that you're negative in all your tests, but in all your bloodline samples, you are in optimal health. And we only see this in professional athletes. We cannot find a marker that is not in top shape here. So you not only got over, it takes a full year to detox off of chemo. I don't know if anybody's told you that, or more.
Wow.
Just to where you can get over from feeling lethargic, lazy, fatigued, no energy, your bones and your joints hurt, and it just constant ongoing. That's what it does to you.
Yeah.
And it takes a year to get over it.
So it's chemo.
So my whole idea when I first started fasting was to just get off the detox from the chemo. And I ended up detoxing from everything.
Yeah, that small C. I was going to mention too. I don't think I even shared this with you, Dean, but back when I was in my 20s, I was seeing all kinds of doctors. I wrote my book, 29 Doctors. It describes all of this.
Right.
That's it. But I was just seeing all different doctors trying to figure out what's wrong with me, and I didn't know any better. They just said, "Oh, let's put you on this. There's this treatment that we can put you on. All you have to do is come into our office and take a shot of this once a month, and this will get rid of your endometriosis, whatever." So I was like 26 years old. I had no idea what was going on. I went and did that, only to find out, like, this was before internet and everything too, so I didn't have any way to research it. I just had to take their word for it. And so when internet came out, maybe like 10 years later, I'm researching this particular drug that they were injecting me with because I felt horrible afterwards. I mean, it took me years to recover from that. I did that for, I think it was 6 months of that treatment, once a month, go in and get that injection, only to find out that it was the small C. And they were giving me that for endometriosis, not telling me what it actually was, and then only just to find out years later. And so I hear you. It takes forever to like recover from that. I mean, that disrupts your DNA. It disrupts all kinds of hormones in your body. It was horrible. It was really bad. So that's why I can really empathize with you to go through that, and just thinking that was your only choice, and the fear that they put into you to do this or else you're going to die. I mean, it's just horrible.
And I went through it, and I got suckered into it too. I admit, I'm not as smart as I think I am sometimes, and sometimes I'm too smart for my own good. But what I learned through this all was that learn to be patient with myself. And one thing I want to give credit and glory to the Most High. Yah did a wonderful thing with me, and how I knew that I was on the right track, because he was bringing me the things that I needed to take and I needed to try, because my friend Nora volunteered some frankincense essential oil and the Isiac tea, and someone else, you guys got me the soursop leaf. Someone else got me the moringa leaves, and then the 81-year-old Chinese lady across the street takes all the dandelions out of her yard and dries them on her driveway, and then goes in and makes tea out of that with that and honeysuckle. So she
Wow.
was making me dandelion root tea with honeysuckle.
Oh,
Honeysuckle's great too, by the way.
oh, that's so
And
sweet.
then I started doing that myself and just making the dandelions into salads, which is really good for you, by the way. And so that all helps. So one thing that's been really on my heart that I really want to make sure that I mention tonight, and this isn't just about the C word, and it's about every disease. It's about everything that is going on and going wrong with uh, the medical industry or the pharmaceutical or pharmakeia. But I want to speak to people that are listening to encourage everybody else out there to understand carefully what I'm going to tell you next. You need to treat yourself like your immune system has been totally compromised. And if you don't baby your immune system right now, you could be in a lot of trouble. And that's for everyone, even if you think you're healthy.
Right.
You might not be because you're being sprayed in the clouds with chemtrails. You
Mm-hmm.
got stuff in your water. You're being poisoned constantly. And there's a lot of stuff out there that you're getting even in the foods and pesticides. And everywhere you look, from every different way, shape, and form, you are being poisoned. So you need to be detoxing. You need to be fasting. You need to be clearing your system out.
Embrace
But one
that.
thing that I want to bring
Downstairs.
up is spike proteins. And I think we need to do this because the number one thing that happens after those that have been vaccinated is they've now become a spike protein machine. You start making spike proteins and you can get infected with spike proteins of someone who is in the middle of a cytokine storm and is shedding spike proteins. Even if you're not vaccinated, you can get those spike proteins. When they get in your system, they wreak havoc with your immune system. So you need to learn to baby your immune system. And for those that that have been vaccinated, you need to detox them off spike proteins. So it's not just detoxing your liver. One of the first things I did is I got smart and I detoxed myself from spike proteins to make sure that I did not have any long haul symptoms left. Now, there's a very famous doctor. His name is Dr. Peter McCullough. You could go on his website. You can see his research on detoxing from spike protein. And it's all out there to be seen. Within 2 weeks of taking nattokinase, curcumin, and bromelain, you can completely rid your body of spike proteins. Once you do that, then you have an ability to start taking in good stuff. Like you say, you clean out the gas tank first. So everyone should be cleaning themselves and detoxing from parasites. And if you have kids, twice a year. Everyone should be doing that. But you should also be detoxing off these spike proteins because those are the real killers. Those are the ones that are bringing about the turbo C words. I don't know if you studied the increase, 300 to 400% cases in children that are coming up with these C words out of nowhere, which never has happened before. And they're turbo C words. And everybody's getting it right now. And that might have been what I got. And another thing, while I'm off topic, I wanted to give another shout out and thanks to all those that supported me and helped me even financially. There's people that really did some just amazing stuff for me. And it might not have been my prayer and fasting that healed me. Someone on your group that I don't even know could have been praying for me, and that was the prayer that was answered. So I want to thank everybody that prayed for me and were holding me up and encouraging me, and I want to do that for everyone else. And I really bless this show for how you guys pray for people and hold each other up, because it's a wonderful thing. And that's one of our highest callings and duties in serving one another. What better way can we do it than to pray for one another?
Thank you, Dean. Yeah,
And so I want to thank you guys and everybody else that prayed for me, helped me, and supported me in every way. And I hope it's all returned to you tenfold or more.
Yeah, we try to do that for everybody. I mean, that's why we field all these prayer requests, because I believe that it's really not our prayers for ourselves, but other people's prayers for us that really do work. And
corporately.
Yeah, I mean, and like you said, it could be one person, it could be 10 people, It could be 1,000 people praying. And God hears the prayers of those that He loves. So, again, that's why it's so important not to be a solo Christian, a Christian all on your own. Not that that's a bad thing, but I think it could be improved upon if you have a network of believers. And when I say true disciples, people that are loyal to our Lord and Savior. And again, I
Indeed.
believe that is one of the biggest keys, is that when you pursue the Lord with your whole heart, much like you did, when you're dying, guess what? You have time to focus everything on the Lord, because you're thinking,
Well, you do.
yeah, I'm at death's door. I'm going to be seeing the Lord soon. I need to focus on Him now. Let's forget about making that next buck, so I can be richer. I'd rather be spiritually richer than financially richer, because guess what?
That's right.
That gets you where you really want to go to, really where you want to end up. This life we live is just a journey, but that journey doesn't have to be focused on the material things. In fact, I think it should be focused on the spiritual things. So that's an
That's
area.
where that saying comes in. One of my favorite sayings lately is, when you're healthy, you have 1,000 problems.
Oh, nice.
Because when you're
Yeah.
not healthy, you only have one.
You only have one problem.
And so now that I'm getting healthy, I don't ever want to go back to 1,000 problems.
Why
I'm just
would
going to
you, right?
stick to one, giving Him the glory and the praise and the honor in my life, and helping other people and serving other people, and spreading the
yeah.
truth.
Yeah, I get it. It's so important for that relationship with the Lord, and everything else will follow. You're sharing your protocols, and everybody wants to know what you did, but I think the bottom line is that you focused on the Lord, and Yeshua has brought you to this point where you can actually say, "Yep, I think that's it." All the other stuff was just additional, I mean, the diet, the fasting, the practicing healthy protocols for your body. I mean, and you haven't even mentioned exercise yet. I mean, well, you did mention exercise, but that's a big thing.
We
Breathing.
talked about it a lot.
Yeah, even breathing, like you said, we talked about breathing before, and there's a right way and a wrong way to breathe.
Learn how to I retaught myself at 70 years of age how to breathe.
Yeah, and I had to ask you, okay, exactly what are you doing now that you weren't doing before? And I'm sure there's a lot of people in our audience.
You
that
want me to
say,
share it?
yeah, I'm saying, what are you talking about breathing? I'm still breathing. No, there's a proper way to breathe. Share it, Dean.
Well, there's two things that kill the C word effectively. One of them is alkaline, and the other alkaline environment. The other is an oxygenated environment. I have extra large lungs, so I was always a good athlete, could always hold my breath for a very long period of time. But that's actually my downfall, because I'm a shallow breather. Even when I was asleep, my wife would just punch me in the head and yell at me, "Breathe," because sometimes I would just take a big giant breath and hold it for like 3 minutes. And it
Wow.
would scare her. She knew I was going to do it because I'd just take a big gulp of breath. But then most of the times I'm shallow breathing. So I developed atrophy in the bottom of my lungs, which is now gone. When they did the PET scan, they said, yeah, you have some stuff in your lungs that looks like it can be cancerous, and the bottoms of your lungs are atrophied. You're not using them. So I started walking. And when I'm walking, I started doing these exercises. And there's attributed to ancient Chinese Qigong, Chigong, and they used to be able to walk or march for 100 miles and not get tired in one day. So what they would do is they would focus on a point on the horizon, but when they were walking, they would do a 4 count. So as they took 4 steps, that would be 1 breath. As they took 4 more steps, that would be an exhale. So inhale 4 steps, exhale 4 steps. And on the 4th time you did that, to complete it, that's another CIA and Special Forces training, which is called box breathing. It's 4 and 4, and the 4th one you hold your breath for a 4 count. So now when I walk, every 4 steps, I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4 as I'm inhaling, 1, 2, 3, 4 as I'm exhaling. And the fourth time I do it, I hold my breath, I take in a little extra, and I step 4 times, then exhale for 4. And so when I'm walking on all these hills, when I started doing it, the last hill to come up to my house is a steep hill. And I was getting to the top of the hill and I was like out of breath. Well, then when I started doing these exercises, I was getting to the top of the hill and go, oh, wait, the hill's gone. I was so busy concentrating on the breathing that I forgot I was climbing a hill.
Right.
And when I got to the top of the hill, instead of being winded, I was actually yawning. So I go do another lap. And so walking wasn't getting me tired, but then there was actually the ability to hold my breath every fourth cycle. It's forcing oxygen in my system down deep into my lungs. And then I notice after doing that for just a couple weeks, when you take a big yawn, I don't know if you guys know what it's like you take a yawn and then you have an extra yawn on top of it where you can take in a little bit more air. I hadn't done that in 7 to 10 years. Now I can take all that extra air in my lungs and like naturally go, wow, that's really cool. So
Right.
all of my lungs are working again. And that was really cool to see on the new PET scan report that all of my lungs are cleared up too. So that really helps. So re-oxygenating my body every day
And oxygen is so crucial when it comes
was
to
really helping.
to health to a healthy body, because what does oxygen do to the sea?
That's right.
Right? It wipes it out.
That's right.
So, and for those of you that are not sure what Dean had said, it's Box, BOX. You can research it yourself. There are a few, again, variables or
There's
variations.
a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, to breathing. But essentially, it's taking deep breaths in a relaxed state. I used to take Aikido before when I was young, and in Aikido,
Okay.
my professor, Professor Tabe, would say, "Okay, get down on your knees, sit down, and now clear your mind and breathe out, and your breath will just keep going forward and forward, past 5 feet, 10 feet. Just breathe out slowly, and then breathe in slowly. So inhale, exhale slowly, and it calms the body, it calms the mind. And this is again an Asian art form, but I can see the benefit in taking in these deep breaths, because you are oxygenating yourself, and you're also finding a calm and a peace when you're doing so. So my revision of my Aikido classes, focus on the Lord. Think of a scripture passage
There
that
you
you've
go.
read, and then breathe out and let it go as far as you can, and then slowly bring it back in and inhale. And you'd be surprised what breathing can do the proper way, right, Dean?
That's right. And you want to make sure you're taking your air in through your nose and exhaling through your mouth.
Oh, yes.
It's very important
Yeah,
because your
good
nose will work like a filter.
Yes.
So if you're just breathing through your mouth, you're actually not doing as well for yourself, because your nasal passages and everything actually treat the air as it's going in better. And
and those of you that have
so
very
that's really important.
hairy nostrils, that's good filters. Don't really pick on them or pluck it out. They're there for
So
a
I
reason.
shouldn't pluck those nose hairs. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, those nose hairs serve a purpose. Okay. Women might
All
want
right.
to
So
do that, right?
if they get long enough to where I can braid them, what should I do?
That's
I'm
funny.
sorry, I'm being silly,
that's
but
funny. But-
I like talking to you, Noble.
Oh,
So
man.
I don't know. I talked about most of the stuff I want to talk about. We never got around to any of the stuff that I eat and the things I'm doing. But like I said, I did mention Dr. Peter McCullough. Go do your own research on that about taking care of the spike proteins, because I don't care if you have the C word. I don't care what you have. You guys should at least detox from that, because everybody needs to do that, and you'll feel a lot better. Everybody needs to do lime and warm water with a little sea salt in it every morning, and maybe some matcha green tea instead of your coffee. But hey, you don't have to follow me, but that's just how I start my day, and I'm going to do it for the rest of the time that I'm here in this realm.
Right. Earlier you mentioned that before you start fasting, of course you're praying, but before you start fasting, you want to make sure you do the cleanse, and like the liver
Absolutely.
cleanse and all that. And my question is, why do we have to do a cleanse, and how does it benefit me? Um, and I'm pulling up this slide you sent me about 6 steps for daily liver cleansing. And so, if once I can get this thing up, that'd be nice. But can you talk about
There's a lot of good ones. I have hundreds of those too. So, those are just some of, and, lots of videos and interviews by different doctors. But,
right?
that stuff works.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sure it does. Um, Tell us again, why is the kidney and why is the liver so important to cleanse? And like you said, you know, if you're putting in all this good food, but your liver is the filter and it's not filtering out the bad stuff, um, it defeats
Well,
the purpose of all these multivitamins and again supplements, and you have all of this good stuff. You spend all this big money on stuff like this, and yet you're getting only a small proportional value back. You know, it's
right.
like why is that? Why is it so important to cleanse your organs like this?
Well, I needed to do it, first of all, because I had to, because along with colorectal stage 4, I had it extended into my liver, spleen, not my pancreas, but my appendix, lungs, different places and different organs, but especially on my liver. And everybody's liver is compromised. If you are in the West,
Yeah.
actually everybody in the world, your liver is compromised.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because of everything we eat, everything we drink. And the liver is one of the only organs in the body that replicates itself and can completely rebuild itself and renew itself. It's one of the few in the body that does.
Yes.
So that's the good thing, but nobody ever takes care of it like that. And it's just
Right.
like muscles. If you don't use your muscles, they're going to atrophy and you're going to get skinny and you're going to get weak. But
And joint issues
um,
and all that. Yeah.
everybody abuses their liver. Alcohol is one of the worst things you can do to your liver.
Yep.
Yes.
But everybody just takes drinking alcohol as it's casual. Just one drink is so damaging to your liver.
Yes.
You
it
know,
is.
cirrhosis of the liver is one of the worst things that can happen to your liver, and it can get so bad that
You turn yellow.
they say you need 1/3 of your liver to survive. But there's been people that ended up with 1/6 of the liver and they were still going. So it's a great organ, but if you have any fat in your body, you have a fatty liver, period.
Yeah.
So if you have a fatty liver, it's not detoxing properly and you're keeping junk inside your
Yeah.
system, in your blood. Your blood is not cleaning itself properly.
And
And it gets stuck in your thyroid if the toxins don't come out.
and there are many things that also damage the liver. I've read that people that have high cholesterol and they take all these statins, for
Oh, yeah.
for cholesterol. Guess where the statins go to? Where all these statins go to?
Accumulate.
It,
Yeah.
it accumulates in your liver.
Is that?
And cholesterol is meant to clean the liver. It's really not that bad for you.
That's right.
And if you don't
It's
clean
great for
liver,
your brain. You need it to survive.
yeah, oh yeah, the body needs cholesterol, believe it or not. I mean, and people say, what is it? The HDL, the LDL, the triglycerides. Honestly, God made our bodies perfect the way it is to keep it functioning. But when we start putting pharmaceuticals in there, and this is statins, Lipitor and all that kind of stuff, that's $1 billion business right there. And all they want is
Right.
money, and they're going to keep your liver at the same place it's at. Not to mention the nanoplastics. Nanoplastics.
Oh, yeah.
When we consume plastics, and you're saying, when do I consume plastic? If you ever bought a bottle of water, plastic in a plastic bottle, guess what? You're consuming nanoplastics, microplastics.
Even on the inside of metal cans, the coating they put on the inside of metal cans that you buy from the shelf.
When you go to the restaurant and you have a takeout plate, can you put my leftovers in this plastic container? Or your saran wraps, plastic containers, anything that holds food. When you go to the grocery store and you see these foods that are wrapped up in nice tray, these foam trays with plastic over it. Guess
Right.
what? Nanoplastics. And they say that we consume about a credit card of plastic every month. Now, guess where the plastics
And it
end up?
gets stuck in the brain is where it goes. It gets
Well,
stuck in
actually,
the brain.
it gets stuck in the brain and the liver because everything has
Yes.
to filter through the liver, and the liver says, "What is this? What am I going to do with it? I'm going to put this in the back part of my compartment." So in one part of your liver, you have a bunch of plastic gathering there, and much like the oceans, you see when plastic bottles and rubbish and all that, they kind of come together, form an island in the sea, and that's what you have in your liver. So important to keep your.
Can I say something right now? There was a comment in the on the comment thread.
Okay.
This is my doctor told me an occasional beer, a glass of wine is good for the liver. Yes. Red wine is awesome. Even Peter told Timothy, you know, hey, take a little bit of wine for the stomach problem. So I'm not knocking taking red wine, but wait, why not just eat red grapes? Because it's the resveratrol that you get from the seed
Right.
Yeah.
or
Yes.
from the skin of the grapes and then from the seeds that actually really helps.
The grape
Yeah.
seed,
It's
the
it
grape
still
seed
has
extract.
alcohol.
Right.
The alcohol doesn't it still counteracts everything.
Right.
So and then back in Paul's day, they did not have as much fermentation and alcohol content in their wine that they used to break bread with that we do now.
Right.
Yeah.
Everything is made to be super potent. Back then, it was just they would add wine to water to clean the water and to sterilize it. So when they were drinking wine, it was basically a little bit of wine in the water to make sure the water was, clean or purified.
Right.
So I'm not telling you not to, and I wouldn't do that because, you know, a little red wine is good for you. Beer, it has hops. The hops are great for you,
Mhm.
but you know, it's still the alcohol content that is bad for the liver. But every once in a while, or doing, you know, that's if you're doing anything occasionally, anything in moderation, then is different. But you know, most people don't drink wine or beer in moderation.
Right. And like in Germany, it's a huge part of their culture. I mean, they have beer
Oh,
vending
yeah.
machines. I mean, children can buy beer. The Lutheran church that I grew up in used to have a kegger after church down in the church basement. I mean, it was just like a huge part of the culture. And so
What's the address to that church?
well, it's pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, Manculas and Aldeon and myself and,
Any Lutheran
and
church
Adrian,
you-
we'll be hitting that place soon.
Well, any Lutheran church you go to, you're going to find a lot of beer going around after church. But,
I'm sorry for being silly.
No. It's just part of the culture, and I think, like you said, it
I know.
used to be like a really healthy thing, and that's why everybody partook in it. That's why it's so widespread in Germany. You know, it's like that's where they get their fermented foods, their sauerkraut. You know that someone mentioned sauerkraut earlier and fermented foods are
It's
great
like
for you.
vodka in Russia.
Yeah.
I think they put vodka in the baby bottles and the
Oh my
formula.
gosh. Oh my gosh. But yeah, everything in moderation. Like, I mean, there's certain foods that are made of plastic, basically, like margarine, that you don't want to
Yes.
do even in moderation because you just know it's horrible for you. But
Margarine? What is that?
Learning to detox off all that stuff, even the micro plastics, and the one thing that we all need to detox too is from the nanobots and the graphene oxide, which is hard to get out of your system, which leads me to a point that I've been wanting to talk about that is necessary because I want people to know about this methylene blue. It does work, but at a cost, just like ivermectin. It does work, but at a cost. But
Yeah.
I was doing some studying. I did a deep dive on this, and there's a thing that actually is stimulated by the methylene blue that causes all these things to happen, and it's called L-theanine. And then there's other things like threonate and other things that it produces and it boosts in the body. Well, wait a minute. I can just go eat an avocado and get threonine and threonate.
Yes.
yeah, what were you saying
Okay,
about
well, let's just do that then.
Yeah.
L-theanine? Can you expand on it a little bit? I just discovered that nutrient, and because I have chronic insomnia, and I started taking that about a week ago, and I've gotten the best sleep in my life. It's just so amazing.
And it really helps the brain. Did Noble tell you we were talking about kiwi and how it helps you sleep?
Yes, we need to get some kiwi.
And kiwi is a superfood. I tell you, and the cool thing about kiwi, a lot of people don't know, if you have an adverse effect or you throw up or you have diarrhea, or now trust me, I've been through the whole gamut 100 times. This journey has been 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Sometimes it was 30 steps back. And so I've had every different issue and stomach issue you could know, and I've had to rebuild my biome every time. So we're talking, I don't,
Yeah.
3-4 dozen times I've had to rebuild my stomach biome in just the last year.
Wow.
But kiwis will restore your stomach biome in less than 24 hours, but it will restore the best biome, and it is the best fiber for initiating probiotics in your system and for or prebiotics in your system and probiotics, because it helps build those back up better than almost anything else. Plus, it helps you sleep better. And I'm sure it does a lot of other really good things, but along with the rest of its properties, it's so high in nutrients and vitamins and minerals.
Okay, so we gotta ask Adrian, who lives in Australia,
And Donna.
and Donna to get to New Zealand, get some kiwis, send it to everybody on this website. But we'll definitely appreciate that. There is a question in the chat from Leonard Allen. Says, what about the gallbladder and the glucose spikes? And I know when you eat food, especially if you eat a lot of starchy items right off the bat, that's where you're going to get your sugar rush, your sugar spikes.
That's
and,
right.
And yet, just to actually defer the spikes, they say eat a salad, eat fruits and vegetables. Oh, actually, if you can eat the vegetable parts, the salads first, and then eat your carbohydrates and your proteins after, that'll quell the spike. It won't be such a dramatic spike. Do you know
Right.
anything more about that, Dean? Any comments?
Well, I do, but so my whole deal is to have no glucose spike whatsoever. So I don't, and I'm not for the last week maybe, but for the most part. And when I go back on my cycle with my next fast, I don't want to take any carbohydrates. None. No breads, no sugars, no grains, no breads, cookies, crackers. If it's anything to do with a carbohydrate, I'm not taking it unless it's natural inside a vitamin or a fruit. And so if you want to get into autophagy and stay there and heal, then that's what you need to do. So I had to cut out all of that. Now, I'm not telling anybody that that's what you could do. That's what it is I'm doing. That's what it is I'm going to continue to do.
Yeah, and
I don't ever need to go back to eating crackers or cookies or breads. Now, real bread, you
right.
want to get me some real bread,
Yeah.
with cracked wheat, and make it with as few ingredients as you can, then I'll eat it. But other than
Right.
that, I don't need to take any carbohydrates in my system.
And
because-
that's the ideal situation for you. But a
Yes,
lot of our
for me.
people in our audience are probably saying, okay, I'm going to work my way to that point. But in the process,
I had to.
I'm going to have to start reduction, start eating less.
That's what I did.
But you know what? Some people just will not give up their pasta. Ask the Italians. Some people will
I
not give
got
up
it
the
right.
rice.
It's,
Ask
no,
the Filipinos. You know
And
what I mean?
the guy that you sent that soursop to,
Yeah.
you looked at his name, it's Italian. And he
It's
said, I
Italian.
can't give up my pastas.
Yeah.
I had some lady tell me the other day, well, this all sounds good and dandy, but my husband and I like banana splits. Does it mean we have to cut down on banana splits?
Oh man.
That's a funny one.
I said, no.
That was
Not
Tammy,
my-
right? Asking you that question, right?
No. No, Tammy George actually has a question for you, Dean, in the chat if you want to take a
Shoot.
look. She's asking.
Hey, Tammy.
She's asking.
And
does-
congratulations to you, Tammy, for recovering from that. I'm still happy for you in recovering from the struggles that you were doing last year and before.
Yeah.
And still praying for you on that, and still giving praise and glory to the Father for you coming out of that or recovering.
Oh, yes.
Recovery is a lifestyle. Recovery is ongoing.
Yeah, she's really made a huge turnaround. But she's asking, Dean, does mixing those different vegetables and fruit not work if they're mixed together? Like, is there a certain order you need to eat
No,
that
but
in?
one thing that I'm finding, one of the funnest things I'm doing right now is finding out different ways to mix different stuff together to make it into a super nutrient. And there's different things that you can do and blend different fruits with different fruits together, and it makes a super nutrient. So that's kind of the fun I'm having with my food. But like the Bolt House Green Goodness, which is my staple,
Right.
I always have some in the refrigerator because if I get hungry and I don't have any food, I'll go drink 3 ounces of that and I'm good.
Right.
And it's, go ahead.
No, I do a similar thing with I have a organic protein shake that I've been drinking just to, because my problem was I was way underweight. I was like so underweight just because I'm malnourished, and I've been dealing with, I don't know if I even told you, I've been dealing with, once I figured out what was wrong with me, Lyme disease. And so there's all kinds of
Right.
other things going on with me, but that's what my naturopath recommended, to kind of bulk up a little bit in a healthy way. And it has a lot of the same ingredients as your Bolthouse
And if you're going to
has.
do proteins, it's really good to do collagen peptides instead of
Yes,
whey proteins.
yes. I don't
Because
like
for me
whey.
now, I have a stomach that, and most people's stomach cannot absorb or digest soy products or some whey products.
No, I
And
can't do that.
even if I was going to do a protein shake, I wouldn't drink it all at once. I'd drink it over a period of 6 hours.
Right.
I would sip at it because if you take it all at once, most of it is not going to digest and it's going to clog your system. I can't afford to get my system clogged. So Transparency Labs makes a whey protein that is from grass-fed sources that only has 4 ingredients.
Oh,
So if
that's
I was
great.
going to do a whey protein, it would be theirs. But there are so many good collagen peptides out there that are really good for healing the stomach. One of them that I was taking right after surgery healed me up in record time. They told me it would take 6 weeks for all the holes in my stomach to heal up and close up. They sent me home with 4 holes in my stomach.
Oh
I
my
was
goodness.
taking Juven, Juven, which is a collagen, and it has a lot of great aminos in it, HMB, and all kinds of really good stuff that aid the protein's absorption and methylation into the system, but it actually heals your gut and it heals your wounds from the inside. It's specifically made for wound healing. And all of my stuff healed up and closed up like 3.5, 4 weeks ahead of time.
Wow.
And my surgeon said, wow, I went back in to see my surgeon. Said, what'd you do? I said, well, there's this stuff called Juven, and now he recommends it to everybody. He says, I was sleeping on that stuff. I'm recommending it from now on.
Awesome.
But
And
it's
speaking
a
of,
real good source of protein.
speaking of your stomach issues, do you want to tell everyone, so we can all be continuing to pray for you and all in one accord, and what you have upcoming in a couple weeks here?
Well, there's a couple. I'm not even sure if I'm going to do that. I might turn it down
Oh,
because
okay.
it's a reconstructive surgery because of the fact they had to split me open down the middle. That wasn't so bad, but they put a mesh in to hold my stomach and my fascia back together when they sewed me back up. They had to open up such a large hole to get an orange-sized tumor out that they had to split me to reach someone's hand in there to grab it. So that's how big it is. So when
Oh
they
my
sewed me back
gosh.
up, they put a mesh in there. And a lot of women have gone through this who have C-sections or other things. They know about this. But when they opened me up again 4 days later, they went right through the mesh that they had already installed and cut everything back open. Now they tried to repair the mesh, and so it didn't heal. So I have this split down the middle of my stomach. I've always had a 6-pack. I kept my 6-pack my entire life. And now my stomach muscles don't even touch. I can take my hand, I can reach in between my stomach muscles in between the middle of my gut and push it all the way in and manipulate my actual stomach.
Wow.
So they
Wow.
need to close that back up. And so I have to be careful about what I do and how I exercise. I can't twist or turn. One of the things they did when they went back into my second surgery is they had to cut some hernias out that was caused by the surgery. So that took even more out. So I can be open back up and they can redo a mesh and close me all back up. And it's going to be a long recovery period
Oh
from that.
boy, I can see why you're
Oh,
thinking
Um,
twice about that. Yeah.
yeah, so I'm weighing it like
Yeah.
Lord, if you're willing, you can heal me of this too.
Right.
Without the
right.
surgery.
And so,
Without the
exactly.
surgery.
And so,
Man.
if anybody knows about, stomach exercises, I would be the one to be able to do that. And
Wow.
so,
Mm.
but I also have to have my port taken out of my chest on the 15th. I'm not ever
Oh.
going to use it again.
Oh yeah.
So, but I don't want to leave a port in my chest that can get septic.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Hey, Dean, there's a comment in the chat. We covered a little bit about fermented foods. Did you want to go into that a little bit more?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Some of the best things you can take for your stomach. I have some sauerkraut in my refrigerator right now, as a matter of fact. I'm going to make that my entree for a meal maybe tomorrow,
Lisa
and
and
then
I
take it for a couple days in a row.
Lisa and I drove down to a Korean supermarket so we could buy some authentic kimchi. I mean, we're talking authentic.
Nice. That's just as good, if not better.
Yeah,
Mhm.
kimchi, sauerkraut. What else is fermented that's good to take? Natto.
Natto, that's the Japanese
That's,
fermented. The only form of soy that's healthy for you is fermented
Soybean is something that you don't want to put in your diet
Right.
unless it's fermented.
That's natto
and-
kinase.
and
or
it's
natto.
called-
That's right.
And it's called natto, Natto. You can actually buy that at a Asian supermarket.
Asian market, yeah.
Not the greatest thing to taste,
It
I can
tastes
tell
like
you
kinda
that.
icky.
But
Oh,
you know
no.
what? It's so good for you. It
It's
lowers
slimy.
it lowers a lot of the bad stuff that's happening in your body. So again, you're right.
I know
Fermented
someone
food-
who actually saved their life by taking that.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah. It's a
They were
staple.
dying for about a year and a half, totally bedridden and viable young man, couldn't work anymore, just kept getting sick. Nobody could fix him. And he started making his own at home.
Wow.
That's how, and that stuff looked like elephant snot.
It does. It looks really bad, and it doesn't taste the greatest either.
Yeah.
But you can also buy it in capsule form, where it's
the health food
dehydrated
stores,
and
right.
everything, so you
I
don't have
have
to
it.
taste it. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know.
That's what I
And that
take,
also
is the
breaks up-
capsule form.
And that's a good one to break up biofilm too. That's like one of the number ones to break up biofilm.
And did you know it actually helps you produce K2?
Really? Oh, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
That's good to know.
K2.
The one you take with D3, D3
Yeah.
K2.
Yes.
Uh,
Don't take D3, guys, without taking K2.
Yeah.
And one other thing people don't know about the D3 is you can take the D3K2 to help cleanse yourself of spike proteins. So if you're going to do the natto and the bromelain, which is just basically papaya enzyme or pineapple, but it
Yep.
actually boosts it into your system and allows you to methylate it. Methylation is just what your body does to absorb these things into the bloodstream.
right.
So the bromelain and the curcumin is a wonder thing.
Yeah.
It's in turmeric.
Curcumin, yeah.
And
turmeric,
so
yeah.
those things, along with D3K2, is really good to take.
D3 is a vitamin that you're talking about. K2 is also a vitamin.
Yes.
Just for people that
And you
don't
should
know.
take them together.
And you take them together. Yeah, the one will not work without the other, so you take them together. Going into the
That's right.
sun gives you vitamin D. And they say that the older you get, though, you don't absorb as much vitamin D from the sun as you used to. So you sometimes have
And I
to
want
get
you
the
to know
supplement.
my tan is on point.
Yeah, you know what?
Me
never
too.
never burn. Don't ever go out from 10
No.
a.m. to 2 p.m. That's when the sun is directly over you, and that's when you get sunburned. And for a lot of fair-skinned people like my wife, Lisa, they turn red. I turn brown. Okay, there's a big difference here. Okay,
I
but
turn golden.
but you
I got about 30 minutes the other day and I pushed it. I like to do 15 to 20 minutes. And that's really all you need. But that produces, they say, up to 20,000 IUs of the equivalent
D.
of 20,000 IUs of vitamin D.
yeah,
it's
Even
right.
10 minutes will, and is a really good benefit. And it will help you sleep better, by the way.
yeah, and I can hear people from the north saying, "What about wintertime? How do I get my D3 from the sun during the wintertime when it's freezing outside?" Well, you know what? jumping into what the polar bear club does, they
Oh
jump
my
into ice
gosh.
water.
I don't know if
That's
that
actually
helps.
very invigorating, right?
I would not
Dean?
wanna
You
do
know that,
that.
right? When you jump into ice water,
Yes.
right?
Oh, yeah. And you guys need to start doing that because
Man.
speaking of the liver, going back to the liver, a lot of people, around the world, super athletes, they do the cold plunges.
Right.
And one thing that they found with the cold plunges is your body goes into a shock and when your body goes into shock, your liver instantly secretes a protein. I forget the name of it, but it's like this super protein that boosts all your outer extremities so that you don't start to go into hypothermia.
Right.
So it's not just that you're getting the benefit of just, closing up your pores. It actually reduces super healing power from the inside of your liver, which cleans your liver too, by the way. And so if you don't, and you can't do a cold plunge, just take a cold shower after you're done taking a hot shower and stand under it for 30 minutes because you're doing your body a great bit of good.
Yep. Just jumping into a swimming pool on a hot day. The swimming
Oh,
pool
yeah.
water. But you don't want to do
That's a shot.
a chlorinated swimming pool. You want a saltwater swimming pool.
Or the ocean.
Yeah, that would
if
be
you live in-
better.
Or the ocean. Yeah, because chlorinated swimming pools, you're putting chlorine into your body, and your skin is the largest organ on your body, and all it does what a sponge does. It sucks. Okay, you don't want chlorine in your system.
Hey, there's a question in the chat from Donna Smith. She's asking if you have any knowledge of healing eyesight. Have you ever studied anything about that,
I've
Dan?
been struggling with my eyes for a while now, and I had to go to a couple specialists, and they found that I have glaucoma and cataracts, and I think they're
Same here.
completely gone away. I need to go back and check it. I think
Wow.
my eyes are completely healed.
Wow, that's awesome.
Just smoke some weed.
And
Oh.
and what did I do? You want to hear something crazy? I started putting castor oil on my eyelids.
Oh, that's what I do that every
Yeah,
night.
Yep.
Every single night
That's
I do
what's
that.
it.
And then
That
I put the
happens here.
blinder on.
So good for you.
Yeah, I would recommend that to everyone. That's something that Tammy George has said that's really helped her skin too, is putting castor oil on at night and you just wake
Yes.
up and it just feels so
Jamaican
rejuvenating.
castor oil.
Is that the kind you use? I've never heard of that one.
No, but that's the kind we need to get because it's
Oh.
supposedly like 50 times better than all others.
Really?
Yeah, there's
Wow.
different qualities of castor oil out there.
I know. Yeah. Wow. That's cool.
I think it's called Jamaican black castor oil because the kid who lives across the street works at Emory Hospital here, and he swears by it, and he grew up with it, and so I'm looking to get some soon. I'm just doing the regular stuff, and it's really good for your stomach. But just stuff like that, I can't recommend because it's not for everyone.
Right.
But doing castor oil in your eyes will even repair your eyelashes.
Yes, yeah, exactly. I noticed my eyelashes are growing again now that I've been doing that. It's nice. And it makes my skin so like amazing in the morning. I can't believe it.
Did
Such
you
a-
know you can put castor oil on brown spots in your face and they'll go away?
Yeah,
yeah.
I've noticed that too.
Yeah.
I noticed that too.
If you have a
Or skin tags.
if
also.
you have kidney stones,
Yes.
or bone spurs, put a castor oil pack on them. It'll dissolve.
That's
them.
right.
It'll
There you
dissolve
go.
them,
And
yeah.
on cysts, you can put it on cysts
too,
on a make
yes.
a poultice and put it on a cyst. It'll dissolve the
Exactly.
cysts in a couple weeks.
That's what we were telling Patrick in the chat because he mentioned that he was going to see a doctor for something like that, and all of us in the chat were saying, "Put castor oil at night." So
Yeah.
Patrick, if you're listening, make sure you do that.
He's
okay?
there, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
But what
everyone-
are the other things they did for my eyes? I think everything that I was taking was good for my eyes.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm sure it was. It's just
So
all
it
the
was
healthy
just the
stuff.
whole diet and taking the diet all day long and then just sticking with it. So I can't, attribute it to any one thing, but I was reading through all the things that I was taking. Oh, this is good for the eyes. Oh, wait, this is good for the eyes too. So everything that I've taken, I've done real research on. Can I recall it off the top of my head right now? No, but you got a lot of really good slides. And I'm looking at I just looked up Coco Mecca right now
Yeah, what is
earlier
that?
today.
Okay.
And that's like sarsaparilla. It's almost the same thing.
Oh.
Blessed thistle is really good. They're very similar. So I have in my Easiac tea, it has burdock root, it
Right.
has yellow dock root, blessed thistle. What are some of the other? It has like 4 or 5 different things like that. But
Right.
here's the thing: I can't recommend that to women because burdock root might not be good for you if you're pregnant or planning on getting pregnant.
Right.
So there's a lot of things that you got to be really careful of and look at them all yourself. And
Right.
even some of the things that we've already mentioned tonight are not good for some people.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
even though they're natural. Another thing that I found out tonight that I didn't know is you know what a pupusa is when the Mexicans eat the pupusas?
Yep.
There was actually a thing in there that they put. It's called, oh, don't let me forget the name of this. It's called loroco, which
Loroco.
sounds weird, but it's a plant. It's a vine, a leafy vine, and it comes from Salvador and Guatemala, and it actually kills the C word. I've been doing a deep study on this right now, and so this is some really good stuff. And I'm finding all the different vines and leafy vines that are really good. I've got given some low gong tang from my neighbor. Turns out that it's really good for you. But then there's another thing: women shouldn't be taking it.
Yeah.
Or pregnant, or women wanting to get pregnant.
Right.
So
women
there's
have-
a lot of stuff out there that you got to look at carefully. And then if you have any other complications, you need to know if you're taking other medicines, can you mix these things or do they mix together? Because will they improve if you have low blood pressure? You
Right.
can't take certain things that I take. So you got to know if you have conditions, what's right for you. That's why you need to do your own studies on this stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, the healthiest foods. Let me see what I'm not taking in this list. I'm doing all of them.
You do all of them?
I've been doing.
I think I
wait
am
a minute.
too, actually. I'm looking at all these. I'm doing all of them too.
Oh, I just got some fresh dates too. The medjool pitted dates. I do figs and dates and prunes almost every night, along with my kiwis and
Mhm.
blackberry and
Oh,
blueberry and.
I
Yeah.
don't do cucumber.
I'm
or
doing all
onions.
these.
You don't do onion,
I don't
honey.
like.
I don't
onions or
really
cucumber.
do, but cucumber water is so good for you.
I know. I
And
read
I
about
just
it.
don't do it though. I
Yeah.
just don't do it. But I'm
Wow.
doing all the hemp seeds and chia seeds, and now that's been the chickpeas. You can keep those. Pumpkin
Yeah.
seeds, I eat them all the time.
Chickpeas are inside of the protein shake that I take, so I don't really taste them, but I don't
Yeah.
think I'd want to eat it by itself.
And
Unless it's,
pumpkin seeds are so good for anti-parasitic.
but chickpeas can be converted to hummus, so I will eat that. That's actually pretty
Really?
good. Yeah.
Okay.
The smashed.
So you learn
Hummus is
something
made
every
out of,
day.
Yeah. But
And
anyway,
some of
Dave,
these things I take every day, by the way. And the sweet potatoes, I'm doing purple sweet potatoes.
Oh,
now.
same here. same
Okinawa,
here.
they call Okinawan sweet potatoes.
Yeah, I just cooked
That's
some of
actually-
those
right.
today.
It's actually not a potato. It doesn't turn to. It's a starch that doesn't turn to sugar. Okinawan sweet potato. So that is.
And that's why it's not going to spike your glucose. So there's a lot of
Exactly.
things. You can make soups of all of this stuff here.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah.
And so you can make put the moringa, the sprouts, the sweet potatoes, the garlic, the onions, the broccoli, and put it in a pot. That's what I do.
Mm-hmm.
And the turmeric and fresh ginger. Where's the ginger on that list? I don't see ginger.
Oh,
It was on another.
Oh, there it
list
is on
you
the
had up
top.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
changed it up.
so I'm at the store I go to. Excuse me, is a Korean market, and they have the best. I'm talking about the best produce section that you'll ever see because they specialize in Korean food, in Chinese food, Vietnamese food, and
Japanese food
Hispanic food
and Filipino
and
food.
American food. So they have a little bit of everything in there.
Yep.
Well, Dean, thank you so much. We're kind of near the end of our time with you, but we really appreciate all the information you shared. There's so many.
I thought we were
positive
going to go
things
till
in-
7 in the morning. What happened with that?
Well, we could do a marathon, except for our tech guy has a newborn, and so he needs to get home, and we can't run
All
the tech
right,
by
then.
ourselves.
Fine.
But you
Thanks
know,
a lot, Isaac.
He said, thanks a lot. Isaac."
One of the things that we did not talk about, because you mentioned that we're getting heavy metals from the air, heavy metals from the water. We're getting toxins
Coconut oil.
all over. You know what I mean? But one of the things that we did not mention tonight is the electromagnetic frequencies, the EMFs that we're getting.
Oh, yeah. And we need to do a show on that because I have a Rife machine.
Yeah.
And I'm
Well,
also
Oh, yes, that's
studying.
right.
I'm studying on that. I'm not turning it on until I'm absolutely sure on that.
Yeah, because you
And
don't want to have
thank you
all
for
that
my
hertzing.
magnets, by the way.
well, speaking
Yeah.
of
I really
magnets,
appreciate the magnets. I swear by magnets.
Oh,
They
yeah.
will detox you, or
Well-
they will ground you and keep you grounded and free from EMF.
Yeah,
Right on.
and
Right on.
harmful stuff.
And you know, we've been selling these magnets for quite a while. We have a new item now that we want to share with everybody. We haven't made a commercial yet, but Isaac's holding it right there in front of the screen. It's called the Embracelet. Our daughter-in-law Kaylee came up with this name.
I liked it.
And yeah, so we have a the regular size and an extra large bracelet. You don't have to wear it on your wrist. You can put it on your
Ankle.
you can put a strap on it. You can put it in front of your organs, like your heart, your lungs, your liver. I mean, put it on your head. You know.
Put it in front of you when you're on your computer.
Yep, exactly. So again,
There you go. Especially.
we want you guys to know that we do have these magnet products that will help. Again, what's the best term? Repel the electromagnetic frequencies that
Yeah.
are coming.
Just reduce it.
So again, if anything, we need to protect ourselves all the way around, not only internally but the foods we eat, but externally by the things that the areas that we live in, work in. If you're watching TV a lot, guess what? You're getting a lot of EMFs
That's
going
right.
on. If you have your modem and your router, a wireless router, guess what? That's in the air. That's
Yeah.
buzzing all through you.
Yeah.
You know.
It goes
So,
literally through your body.
Again, a
And
lot.
it picks up your movements.
Yeah, a lot
Yeah.
of times, again, we are doing it to ourselves in our very own homes. So beware of that. Again, this is just I know it's a shameless plug on a product that we make, but you know what?
It'll be out there pretty soon.
We're just trying to help everybody get healthy, and stay healthy.
And thank you for that.
Yes,
Yeah, no problem.
and you know
Thank you,
again
Dean.
we want to thank Dean for coming on and sharing his testimony. Oh yeah, I did mention the plastics earlier. And so we just want to make sure that everybody's on target with us, that you understand what we're sharing. If you have anything to share with us, our chat world out there, our followers,
You can always send us an email
Yeah.
at biblicalhebrewhawaii@gmail.com.
and you know we're very approachable. We talk to
Yeah.
anybody
And-
everybody. Yes, Dean.
And I'm Watchman 316 on Discord. Anybody wants to friend me on Discord,
There we
Yep.
go.
please do. And if you have any questions, you know, you can go ahead and contact Lisa Noble. I'll share my personal information if you guys want to call me and ask me direct. I will talk to anybody and I will pray with anyone. And if you're going through extreme struggles like I did, like walking through the valley of the shadow of death,
Yeah.
and feeling alone, I will come alongside you and I will hold you up. I will encourage you. I will spend time with you. I will pray with you every day if need be. So if you need my information, you can get it from them and I'll share it with them. I just don't want to publish it out on this line. And one thing that I wanted to share too is before I go, and I know I'm going to keep this short. Someone asked me, so what are you going to do now? And I said, the same thing I have been doing. I'm still fasting. And so after we talked, Noble, I thought about this because I got knocked down and the whole race went on without me. And I had to get up, pick myself up and start running again. And I fell a couple times and had to get back up and keep running. And then I caught up to the lead group and I actually passed the guy that was in first place. And that
Right.
was the disease and the things I was going through.
Yeah.
But just because you pass the leader doesn't mean you can slow down.
The race is not
So
over.
I'm not going to slow down. I'm going
Yeah.
into the home stretch. The
Yeah.
race isn't over
Yep.
until the angels sing.
That's right.
Yep.
So
exactly.
I'm going to continue on, and that's what I want to encourage everybody to do. Is if you get knocked down 7 times, get back up 8, and just don't give up hope, don't give up faith, and reach out to your brothers and sisters.
Yep.
And y'all will send you the help and the encouragement you need. And I'm here for anybody that wants to talk to me personally.
Dean, thank you so much.
We
Dean
appreciate
made
that.
the emphasis when we were talking that it's lifestyle change that will make the difference.
That's right.
If you do not change your eating habits now, or even try to improve them, you never will. And guess what? You will be in the situation where Dean was at, where he was at death's door. And sometimes, it takes that kick in the nuts, to
Okay.
to really get you to wake up. Okay.
That's just not the
Yeah,
rest.
just. But again,
Split
it
the
up.
rest.
Yeah.
if you are older, if you are in your senior moments, you definitely have to watch out your eating habits and start implementing a better lifestyle change. again, thank you, Dean, for all that you've shared with us.
Yeah,
We-
thank you to our moderators too. You guys are awesome in the chat. We appreciate you being so
Yep.
welcoming, and all the new people that have come in today. We welcome all you guys to our ministry.
Yeah, we thank you. We thank everybody for joining us and watching this program, because by watching this, hopefully you will be convinced to make some type of changes in your lifestyle so that you can live better, live longer, and praise God all the better.
That's right.
Amen.
Amen.
All right, Dean.
And if you guys want to talk to me on Discord, I'm Watchman 316.
Yes, find him on
I'm
Discord.
still on Sacred Word. If you
Yeah.
want to send me a friend request, I'll even get you onto my server. We could talk personally or live
Yeah.
there. And sometimes we do some pretty cool classes and stuff. Not a self-promotion, just a way in which we could communicate easier and better.
Exactly.
That's right.
And Dean's not selling anything. What he's trying to promote is just a healthy lifestyle,
Yeah.
because he lived through it, he experienced it, and he wants to share what God has blessed him with. And remember, it is not just the dieting and the lifestyle change, but it's that relationship
No.
with Yeshua that matters
That's right.
first and foremost. That's my department as a pastor and teacher. I want to make sure that everybody's sound spiritually. When that's taken
I
care
thought
of,
of one for you today, Noble.
what's that?
What should it profit a man if he should heal his whole body but lose his own soul?
Ah,
So it's
Yeah.
more important to be healed in your soul and in your spirit than in your body. But if
Yeah.
you get healed by the Messiah, then you're healed wholly, and your spiritual and your soul are saved. Then it doesn't matter what happens to your body. But when that happens, then you have peace and joy and salvation. Then your body can be healed.
Exactly.
So it's necessary to have that first. And
Yes.
that was the foundation that I started on.
Prayer.
And so I started my foundation upon the rock.
Amen. Amen.
that's right.
So with that, guys, again, you heard it from Dean himself, and we also we are aligned with him with that, because Scripture says, save yourself, save those that are around you, save those that you love, those that you know, those that you hate, right? Pray for those that your enemies.
Indeed.
Everybody needs spiritual salvation. The physical part, that's the hard part. You know what I mean? Because people will not give up banana splits, right? But you know what? As long as their soul is saved, they're good to go, and that's all that matters. But Dean, thank you again for coming on and sharing. We
Yeah.
will have you back again. We'll have updates with you.
Thank you.
And for those of you out there, any more questions, shoot it to us. Lisa
Yeah,
will
you can
field
send
them.
us an email
and we
or
will actually
contact
get on
Dean
it.
on Discord. Yeah.
Don't forget to contact Watchman of Christ, Dean.
Watchman 316.
316. Watchman 316.
Yeah.
And if you want to hear his testimony from his lips, I suggest you do so. It's a great testimony.
Yes.
So with that, Isaac, why don't you close us in prayer, because I want everybody to see who you are too. Our son looks different.
Oh no!
Yeah.
What are you trying to do? This is
Sit back here, so people can
Are you
see.
trying to
Our
promote?
granddaughter could not recognize her
You
own
trying to
father.
promote?
Come
my,
on, Isaac.
my
Step up.
barber.
Tammy's been complaining about his hair
for a long Gosh.
time
Oh,
there you go,
come
Tammy.
on, come on.
on.
Wait, sit over here. You sit with your husband.
Oh my gosh.
Give her the
Well,
mic.
yeah. We just got this done yesterday. My wife was like, "Oh, I want to see what your hair looks like when it's wrapped up in
Hello.
different." And so now you have it. Ta-da!
Isn't he handsome?
I guess.
The beauty is right there in her arms.
Yes, right here. See
That's
this
the
one?
beauty.
Yeah.
So close us in prayer, son.
All right. Thank you, Abba, so much for another amazing day. Thank you that you continue to bless us and provide for us in every way that you see fit. We honor and praise you for the lifestyle changes that you have been ushering in for us. And we thank you so much that you have been chastening and giving us your rod of the discipline so that we can, in turn, not only better ourselves and the kingdom that we are invested in, but also those around us. And give them a positive or a healthy way and healthy way of living, and that comes from you. So we honor and glorify you for everything you do, and in Yeshua's name we say, Amen. Thank you.
Yeah,
Amen.
Ayla says
Ayla
thank
says
you.
amen. All right, everybody. Well, thank you for joining us again. Oh, oh yeah. Well, the mic's
Okay.
okay. I'll just talk loud.
Shaloha.
So, God bless you all. Take care.
Let me
Bye.
put it on the commercial.